What's good, good people? Vets, let's talk, man. We got a new person leading the formation today. Sergeant Sid Power. Hey, before we start, hey, why don't you go ahead and click that like, share, and subscribe, man. Hey, how you doing, Sarge?
I'm doing good.
Outstanding.
Hanging in this COVID life.
Is everything shut down there?
Nah, it's just being a little more strict as far as restrictions is going. But nothing's shutting down yet. But as far as the COVID cases, they keep on rising still. We'll see what happens.
Okay, man. How the family doing, brother?
They're doing good. The little ones are still in school, and my baby running around being a crazy me.
Hey, gotta
Little
follow
one.
suit. He gotta follow suit, bro.
Yep.
I know he getting big, man. I know he is.
Yeah, he's 2 now, so he's in those terrible 2 stages.
Oh no, yeah, we gotta leave him at the house. Drop him off at your sister's house or something.
They'll drop him back off and they'll go around the corner, come right back. You can have him.
So hey man, I want to ask you a quick question, bro. Like what year did you come in the military?
I joined in 2004.
So
early, like March of 2004.
Do you remember where you were during the 9/11?
Yeah, for 9/11, I was a sophomore in high school. I was actually running late to my science class, because of everything that was showing on the news. I had just woken up. I remember it was early morning. And I just remember going to my pops' room and knocking on the door, asking him, hey, you gonna take me to school? And he's like, are you watching this? I was like, watching what? And I looked up and I was all like, dang, that's a cool movie, And he's like, that's live.
Wow.
And it was just like instant, like, wow, like, what is this? Eye opener. Then going to school and just seeing like the teachers' faces, everybody in tears, just, and I think that's when it hit the most, when I was like, oh, this is real.
Right.
So
being that you joined the military during wartime, like what was going through your mind when the people was actually asking you, yeah, what's going on over there, and you still going to go ahead and just like raise your hand and serve your country? It takes a certain type of person, like patriot, to do something like that.
Yeah. As far as that goes, I always planned on joining the military. That was kind of like my go-to. It just, something about the military always attracted me. I have family members, grandparents that were in the military. They didn't serve long, but they served, during some crazy times. And I'm not sure if it was that or what it was, but something just always drew me toward the military. Initially I said I was going to join the Navy. I went to the Marines, finally signed up with the Army. But during a time of war, that I think that motivated me to join more than anything. It didn't I didn't stop to think, oh shoot, this is the wrong time to go. Now I'm scared. Now it just wasn't the right time to even think that way. It was like more of, it's time to go. Now's the time to go. Even though as young as I was, being a sophomore, I was so eager, to wanting to protect, your homeland, your home. You don't want terrorists or anybody else coming to your homeland and doing, what they did, and when I mean homeland, I mean like, what if it's right outside your door?
Right.
A lot of people don't know how that feels. I'm from, I'm in California. that happened in New York, and I felt, what everybody else was feeling out there. So yeah, it didn't change my judgment. It was gonna happen regardless. But yeah, it just motivated me more to just want to do that even more.
Okay, man, let's dive into this thing real quick. Hey man, being like, PTS and TBI, this is a big subject for military personnel getting out of the military, in the military, and not even military. It could be like civilian sector. There's a lot of people that deal with the same internal scars that we deal with, right? Like
Yeah.
after your service, when did you start seeing some effects with you as far as like how you move?
Well, just just being back, things were different. We were used to certain ways, certain things, even coping wise, our own ways of coping were different. Um, I don't know exactly how everybody coped with it. My way of coping with it was, I would go out and drink a lot. It was a job to look for a job for me when I got back. And it was just something that I hope nobody has to ever experience, because when I got back, it was a rough time as far as the economy as well too.
Right.
So when I got back, it was already rough as it is, and coming back as a veteran, being in a combat zone, I got a lot of doors shut in my face. Just going to interviews alone, and having people ask, have you ever deployed? And being a patriot, you're gonna not say no. That's not in your blood to say no. Even as bad as people may think veterans are, they just need to understand they're coming back from a war zone. We're not used to that type of stuff.
Right.
you know um but it was an interesting time, um to be dealing with that type of stuff, looking for a job, being stressed out, being all over the place. I honestly didn't find help or seek help until late, after probably about a good 4 years after I
Wow.
got out of the military. And that's probably when I started to look back, at my past, and was like, hey, I went about it the whole wrong way.
So
I needed help from the get-go, and I didn't even know it.
so when did you start realizing that you had this thing?
I would say probably like in 2012. 2012 was when it started to hit me.
So
When
what were some of the things that you were like doing?
um I would say, of course, a lot of the anger issues, a lot of the aggressiveness, a lot of the light tempered, very light tempered. Um, any little thing would trigger me. And when I mean anything, I mean anything. I mean, somebody could be pushing their cart in the little grocery store, you know, hit my cart, and boom, it's on. It
Right.
was just like, what are you doing? Like, that's not me, you know. So little things like that I started to notice. Um, and at that point is where I felt like, I need to go see somebody about this.
Right. And you mentioned the whole thing with going into job, telling these folks that you've been deployed. And that's big. And a lot of people don't sit back and realize that as a combat veteran. First off, a little bit of history between me and Pyro. That's what I call him when he was in there. He was my NCO. And
Yes.
we kind of chewed the same stuff. And we, almost lost my life with this guy a couple of times. Like we was outside the wire for 15 months, that deployment.
Yes, sir.
So we seen a lot. The first couple of months of our deployments. We kind of just hit the ground running, QRF, detainee, you name it, we did it. We was out there. And the things that we done, it became a norm. Because like he said, coming back stateside, we become so normalized to the things that we was doing. A lot of stuff that goes on here, we become numb to a lot of things that's going on because we're just so ready to just go at any moment. And it's different. It's a lot different. A lot of people don't really understand that about us. They just sit back and say, why can't he get over it? Or what's wrong with it? He can't live a normal life. And they just see us as people that just don't want to do. I'm gonna just go ahead and throw it out there because I have the same things he have. They just see us as people just lazy, don't want to do, and like,
yep.
But at the end of it, we have it. It doesn't have us. At a certain point of our lives, we figured out how to control this thing. But I'm gonna ask you, like, when you seeked help, did that help you at any?
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that. When I went to go look for help, I found myself, looking, searching, and trying to find, people to talk to, people that could relate. A lot of people couldn't because they didn't know, what I experienced, what I've been through. I could tell them my stories,
right?
But ultimately, they wouldn't understand. So what I did was I went to the VA. I went to the VA hospital and I found myself talking to, I want to say it was 3 different psychiatrists that I had to talk to. The very first one I spoke to, she was probably the best person that could relate. She had I believe she had her father and grandfather served, so she understood, PTSD inside and out, firsthand experience. And she wasn't my psychiatrist. She was more like the initiation psychiatrist.
Right.
I felt that she helped me the most. The second psychiatrist they had me talking to, which was my actual psychiatrist, basically said that I was an alcoholic because I was drinking at least 3 times a week, even though I explained to her I would probably drink, a shot a day, just to calm my nerves. At the time, I didn't have anything to calm my nerves, and like I said, anger issues with all that stuff going on. I needed something to help. So, she recommended taking certain pills. They sent me to another area. I talked to another person. They sent me to another area. I talked to another person. They sent me to another area. I talked to another person. And by the time I left there, I'm going to show you.
No.
This is what I left it with.
Hell no. That's
These are all prescriptions that they wanted me to start taking. I'm not gonna lie, I started taking some of those pills.
Right.
And I just felt like I was going in a darker direction.
Exactly.
It wasn't helping. I felt like I didn't have a personality. It was more like I was waking up and not even really living life, waking up, taking these pills, going on my regular routine, but not really communicating with people, not really talking to people, not having a daily life, not even with my own kids. It was hard to reach out to them. It was hard to talk to them. to everybody at that point.
Right.
So little by little, I stopped taking these pills, and I went back. And when I went back, I talked to the psychiatrist that I was talking to there, and they basically told me that I'm gonna have a relapse because I stopped taking my pills and I had stopped drinking.
Okay.
Completely, 300. I mean, across the board, I stopped drinking just because they kept saying that I was an alcoholic. I knew I was an alcoholic at that point. When I got back, probably about the first year, I'm not gonna lie, I was drinking a lot. As soon as I would wake up, 9 to 5, looking for a job at 5 o'clock, I would just start drinking until, I felt that it was time to go to bed, which was, the sun was coming up. That's the time it was time to go to bed.
Yeah, I can relate.
But that was only like the first year, where it was really rough, where it was a rough patch. After that, I felt that I started catching myself, with these little things, as far as drinking a lot, as far as, the way I'm talking to people, the way I'm approaching people, the way I'm handling situations. And that's when I started to tinker down to, oh shoot, something's up. But going back to this VA thing, there's a lot of options out there as far as coping with things. There's meditation, there's working out, there's all kinds of different things that you could do. And at that time, like I told you, I talked to one of those the first psychiatrist. I went back to her actually, and I told her, I was all like, I feel like all these psychiatrists that I'm talking to, nobody's helping me. And she explained to me that there's other sources that she cannot tell me to do, but that I should try other remedies.
Right.
And I was all like, okay, well, what are these remedies? Please explain. And she was just telling me, she just, gave me this flyer, and it was a Weed for Warriors flyer. And I'm not too sure if you're familiar with that, but that's basically an organization formed, with only veterans.
Right.
And these are all types of veterans from, Navy, Marines, Army, from all eras of the military, going through the same thing we've went through with the VA, with, these pills, with, everything as far as what we're going through outside of the military. And, I linked up with them and started dealing with, marijuana and their remedies. There's all types of different remedies as far as, there's actual weed, there's actual tincture, there's different waxes, there's different forms, liquids, drinks, ointments, lotions, everything you could think of,
Right.
And I started dipping into that stuff. And that's what I felt helped me the most. It helped me find myself. It helped me bring myself back to the norm.
Right.
I felt that I could build a personality. It helps me sleep. It helps with the stress, a little bit of everything, man. So that's my go-to at this point, is, my greens. But
Good old
that's
sticky.
the only way I could cope with things at this point, man. But I refuse to take the pills. It was just leading me into a very, very, very dark place where I hope if anybody is in that place that they reach out and look for other help, because there is other help out there.
Yeah, a little bit of transparency. Yeah, when they gave me the same thing, I felt more suicidal than anything, if that makes sense. And I'm just being honest. This is a forum to sit here to do that, to share a little piece of whatever that I was going through with that. But I felt like that. I felt mute. Anytime somebody to say something to me, it's like I couldn't gather my words. And I just sit there and just look at them. So that's definitely not the way to go. And they'd sit back and tell you, maybe you need to try this pill. What about this pill? Oh, we got this.
Yep.
And you know, when you go in there and talk to them, they just sit there and look at you like, because it is a lot of people that go in there and they just trying to basically get a check and they go in there and lie.
Oh yeah,
like
definitely.
I never really take a person's experience away from them because what they went through, there's just, you know, what it is. But it is a lot of people out there that's trying to play the game. And it just sucks for veterans like us that actually been through the suck, if that makes any type of sense. Hey, do you think did your condition contribute to your divorce?
Um, you know, when I was in the military, um, I wouldn't say I necessarily had the support from my partner at the time.
Right.
Even just being, you know, local stateside, um, it was kind of rough as far as being there. I get, you know, when I joined, I was young.
Right.
I was probably like at that point, 19, 20 years old when I got, you know, when we decided to get married.
Okay.
And just like, you know, any other soldier, they're just trying to take care of their family, you know, make sure they're taken care of before anything major happens to them, if anything major was to happen.
Right.
But you know, I don't feel like I had that support, and my marriage was just, I felt at that point kind of always on the rocks. And then when I got back, I definitely was not there to even want to put in any type of work. Mentally, it just felt like I didn't want to deal with it. I didn't want to deal with any of the problems, you know, like, and yeah, I mean, like I said at the time, I didn't seek any help, you know. I didn't try to look for any help. I felt that everything that I was doing was completely normal, which I could tell you 100% it was not normal.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I would definitely say that it definitely contributed to my divorce for sure.
Wow. So you just kind of checked out.
Yeah, man. Like I felt like it was already, you know, when you're deployed, it's already rough as it is.
Right.
You know, we were gone for a solid 15 months. Um, that could be rough on anybody, even, you know, a long-term marriage, it could be rough. And newlyweds, if it's definitely gonna be rough, you know. So, you know, it's part of the game, it's part of, you know, being a soldier. You know, you got to deal with those type of heartaches. But yeah, when I got back, I wasn't there at all, dude, at all. Like I didn't want to be there mentally. I checked out, you know, like I said, I was constantly drinking. Um, and I wasn't even trying to even build my relationship. Um, so I want to say a year after I got back, actually, we completely separated.
Right.
So
So, okay. Would you say that you're somewhat in a good place right now? You're never really going to be perfectly like normal. Like, but would you say that you can better deal with a lot of things that come your way? Like if somebody was to come up to you and just do the small things that used to piss you off, would you just be that person to just sit back and just walk away?
oh nah, you know, at this point, you know, I just feel like I'm more mature and I'm not that young stud anymore where I could just react. You know, you you don't know what people have on them these days. You know, you don't know how people are going to react these days. You don't know what people have been through these days. Nobody doesn't know, how people live and who they know, or even like what they're about. So it's just at this point, I kind of I step back. I take 2 steps back, and I catch myself before anything.
Right.
Of course, you're gonna get in those situations where you can't handle yourself, and it's gonna come out, and you can't control it. And once it's out, it's out.
Yeah.
And you already know, once that dog's out, that beast is gonna come out.
It's like the domino effect.
Yeah. And it's like everybody's trying to, what's wrong? Calm down. Blah, blah, blah. We're not built like that.
Nah.
There's not a switch where we could just, okay, yeah, okay, I'll calm down. Like, no, like, no, bro. Let me go. Let me go take a drive. I'll be back in a couple hours. I'll let you know. I'll let you know how it goes.
Give me a minute by myself. Like,
yeah.
I'll get over it, but stop asking me questions.
Exactly.
Hey man, like, hey, if somebody, if you know somebody, he comes across you, he's fresh out of the military, or he even could be in the military. He's showing signs of traumatic brain injury or PTS. Like, what would you say to that individual?
Oh man, I don't even know, to be honest. Seek help ASAP, because TBI is no joke. TBI is definitely no joke. Right. That's a big thing that I'm dealing with right now alongside PTSD is TBI. When we were out there, we got blown up, dude. And that kind of stuff, it affects you. It definitely affects you.
More than once. We got blown
more than once, yeah.
More than twice.
More than twice. That's what I was. You know what? I was just talking to my partner, my girl. Right. I was telling her, man, just thinking about. I was like, damn. She's like, what? I was like, how, professional athletes, especially NFL players, they're going through all this concussion treatment and stuff like that. I feel like the military should have something along those lines.
Right.
Because we get out and we're dealing with these things. And just like those players are getting hit, when we're getting hit by that freaking, I'm not even sure what that blast is, but you feel it, dude. You felt it. It's just like, you don't see it, but you definitely feel it in your body. And, that type of stuff, it contributes to all these pains and aches. And, we're having all these knee pains, all these body pains, and it's random. And we're like, bro, I'm not even that old. Like, why am I feeling this way? I feel like I'm freaking like 80 years old, like, getting out of bed, everything's cracking. You're like, what the hell? But that's the type of stuff that you deal with in a combat zone. And TBI, it's just, your brain's very, 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 very fragile. And, any little movement inside that's gonna, cause your brain to freaking, take that impact, that's not healthy on you, dude, at all.
It's not normal.
And a lot of people don't understand that. And then they start forgetting stuff, stuff that they're like, it could be something as easy as a combination that they knew for years. They get up to that lock and they're trying to remember like so hard, like, bro, I've had this lock for like 30 years, but I can't remember the combination. It could be something as small as that. Sometimes it comes back, sometimes it kicks in, and it's like randomly you're remembering these things. You're like, you'll be walking around, 3-4 weeks later. Oh yeah, I remember that combination now. Like it's stuff like that 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 you need to get that checked. That's not normal. Yeah, that is not normal.
Not only that, it's like when you sit down sometime and you just daze off into nowhere, like Wonderland, and people like, hey, are you okay? Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm good. Or you just get fuzzy. Like sometimes, like to be perfectly honest, I don't even know how I got to the house. I'm just being honest. But I make it home. But
You know what? I was gonna say the exact same thing. If that ever happened to you while you were driving,
Yeah.
it happened to me, quite a few times. I remember one time I was driving out to Vegas, me and my buddy, and it's a long straightaway for a while. So I'm seeing nothing but desert, you know, flat land. I'm start thinking about, mission time, and all of a sudden my foot's just on the freaking throttle, just taking a woo. Next thing you know, we're going like over 100. And I just have a dead look on my face, just like driving straight. And I just felt his hand on my shoulder. He's all like, "Are you all right?" Because he knows my situation. So he just puts his hand on my shoulder real gently. "Are you all right?" And I just take my foot off the throttle, like, "Oh, bro, like, you don't even know. Let me tell you this one story." Like, and I'll just go on into a mission, you know? And it's just like, you catch yourself. Those are the type of things that happen. You start noticing. And I guess that's the only way you can really cope with it. You do got to understand yourself mentally. You got to understand yourself physically. And you got to acknowledge it, because if you ignore it, that's when the problem gets bigger and bigger and bigger.
There's one thing you have around you when this thing comes about is people say, "Oh, you all right. There's nothing wrong with you." Oh, stop saying you got. But the thing is, you have to realize that you have it so you can deal with it.
Yep, definitely.
Hey, let's mission brief, man. Let's do something real quick, man. I'm gonna throw a word out there. This is the mission brief. Refocus. Like, I'm gonna tell you what it means to you. If you want to, you don't have to, but refocus. Like, to me, it's like redirecting my mind into a certain place when I get into situations. Like, example, my son. Like, if I get to thinking about something negative or something that went on over there, or I get some type of attitude or if I have some type of thought of taking my own life, transparency. I think about my child. Like, what am I telling him? Like, if I act a certain type of way, like, am I giving him the green light to be a certain type of way when things go on with him? Like, what if for instance, that he goes through something and he's like, "Hey, my father act like this, so it's okay for me to act like that." So I refocus myself around him so I can be a particular type of person, not only around him when I'm out and about in the city, so I won't like get in any type of trouble. And that's what like refocus to me, because I'm the train conductor, right? And if I crash this train, it's a lot of people going to feel the impact of what goes on with me.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I think refocus is to me.
Yeah, I feel you. Yeah, definitely. I mean, your family has to be your refocus. It has to be. There should be, you know, I don't even I don't know. I don't know no other option.
Right.
Because that's the only thing that can probably bring you back down.
Exactly.
Yeah. You could say, "I have a dog." You could say, "There's a special item." You could say, there's um drinking, weed remedies, whatever. Ultimately, your family, is your heart.
Right.
And that's connected to your brain, and that's going to relay that message to remember what you're doing this for.
Right.
That's the only thing that I could definitely relate to. I got my little guy, I got my woman, I got my other two kids, and that's all you have to think about at this point.
Right. You got the Brady Bunch over there.
Yeah, there's really nothing else that could really bring you back down.
Hey man, I appreciate you for like giving up some of your time and sharing a little something with the people, man. I really appreciate that. This means so much to me.
No problem. We're just we're gonna be dealing with this. I love the fact that ever since we've been out that you've been checking up on all of us, like I'm not, not too many people are familiar um, with your position in our platoon, in our platoon. I'm not going to even include rank. I want to say, you were that big brother to everybody, even to me. I was young, dude. Like at that time, I think, let me see, I was probably like 20, 21. I think, you know what? I turned 20 and 21. I turned 20 in Texas and 21. No, I'm sorry. I turned 21 in Iraq. Yeah, I turned 21 and 22 in Iraq.
Wow.
Yeah, I turned 21 and 22 in Iraq. So, but ever since then, that was what, 2008 when I got out. And like ever since then, dude, like you just been checking up on all of us. I know, you keep in touch with me. What hurt, is very, close to your heart. And a couple other guys, I'm sure.
Right.
But I just felt like you've always been there, even, while we were serving, you would come to me and, yo, you ready to go? And I'm just like, dude, like, I'm just waking up. What the heck are you talking about? Like, let's go get breakfast. Come on, get up. Like, you always kept me on my toes, man. And like, you were freaking under me. Like, I should have been over, under you. But, that just develops that great leadership that a lot of people don't understand nowadays, because, nowadays it's who, it's, oh, I've been at this place for a long period of time. I deserve this position, blah, blah, blah. That stuff in the military, like it's completely different. It was about hard work. Is that dude a hard worker? Is that dude show up? Is he a team player? And you were always like all that stuff in one and some, like not just that. Like I tell a lot of people, hey, like my soldier taught me how to work out. Like people tell me, oh, how'd you learn how to work out? Like my soldier taught me how to work out. And people didn't believe me. And like for the longest time, I was like, yeah, this dude's a big dude, big old dude. I was like, he has some small chicken legs, but he's a big dude.
We ain't gotta put that on here, bro. Wow.
You thought I forgot about those legs, huh?
Wow. I got you. I feel you, bro.
Nah, but you know what? The fact that like you always looked out for all of us, man. Like I appreciate you, like for real, like straight from my heart, bro. Like you always checked up on us. Like I know every time I had a problem, it was like real easy to get a hold of you. It's real easy to talk to you, and you're very, down to earth. And you could relate to a lot of these issues, these problems that a lot of veterans are going through, not just myself, a lot of different people. And I hope you touch bases with plenty of more, because I know there's a lot of them out there that need help, that need guidance, and like maybe you're the tip of the spear. So
yeah, man, because my thoughts on that, like I know what it's like. Because when I got out after that first couple of years, it wasn't really noticeable. But once it hit me, and it hit hard like a sledgehammer. I had nobody to go to, Parra. Nobody. It was just like, even though I had my wife, like because of what I was going on with me, we had like a big rough patch, and for years, it took years to repair that, what was going on.
Yeah.
Based on what was going on with me. So like, I feel like I know what it feels like. I say, man, let me check these guys and see what's going on. Cause I know I was like, no, I'm not the only one. I can't be the only one. And for the longest, I was thinking that until, Christopher, and I'm not going to talk about a situation. I'm like, okay, let me check the rest of these guys. Hey, what's up? Hey, Roebuck. Hey, But hey, man, I'm about to close out real quick, man. Close out on this real quick. Hey, man, if you're a veteran you going through a situation, if you even thinking about suicide, there's a number that I'm going to attach in the description below. You can contact somebody. If you can't contact somebody, that reach out to me at Inspiration by Don on IG. Text me, call me on there. Like, I'll talk to you, you know. We can try to get you somewhere. Like, I can't say I'm the end all be all or any, like, you might know somebody, talk to them, but reach out to somebody when you're feeling some type of way that you can trust, that won't use what you have against you. And that's big. Always remember, you may have it, but don't let it have you. Like, it's a lot of things that was derailed in my life just because of this thing. But at this moment, I'm living as a happy soul, and I'm gonna move as such. Hey man, let's talk. Who's up for the next formation? Fall out.